Hello, class. My name is Aleko Parakupka, and this is my speech, How Management Theories Shape Workplace Communication. Many of us have worked, one job, multiple jobs, or we just felt like we were going through the motions, part of just the same old routine, no flexibility, not the best communication. And many of us had had jobs where we felt like we were part of a team. There was a culture, there was a healthy work environment where people can express their opinions freely. The difference in workplace culture is because of the management theories behind them. How managers view their employees affects the performance of the employee. With the readings of Pressbook Chapters 1 and 2, the YouTube videos on management theory, and the TED Talk by Dan Ariely, we learn that communication practices change and evolve depending on the manager's approach and how he views his employees. To start off, we have the classical management perspective. Organizations treated employees like a system, and they wanted pretty much full control. In Pressbook 2, Frederick Taylor says that there was one best way to do a job, and workers simply needed to follow directions. Taylor's studies were made to measure output and a controlling work behavior. Only communication was from the manager to the employee, which is, I think, kind of crazy to think about now, the way a lot of workplaces are. But it was just top down. Manager to employee, that was it. No other employee discussions or involvement in business ideas. And this kind of ties into the hierarchy that Weber and Fayol added, which was meant highlighted in the classical management theory YouTube video. They wanted to add a strict hierarchy to make organizations predictable, which they believed would make them more efficient, which in return would make them, the organization, money. Because of this, employees started to lack engagement, motivation. Again, going through the motions all day, you're just bored, you have no passion behind the work. And that is when the human relations theory came in, and that recognized that people are motivated by feelings and value, not solely just pay. Again, back then they thought it was just pay is the only motivation. Now we realize that employees want to be heard and recognized for their contributions. Chapter 2 in the press book explains that human relations movement showed employees are social beings who needed recognition and support in the workplace. The Hawthorne study demonstrated that workers perform better when they feel valued and recognized in the workplace. Because of this, communication evolved and became two-way instead of just top-down, like I mentioned before. And this was encouraging for employees because it allowed them to have feedback and, again, started to increase contributions and input in what work they are doing. My favorite lecture YouTube video of this whole thing was Dan Ariely's TED Talk. I think it's great in talking about the human relations movement. He's explaining again what I mentioned. People are motivated by appreciation, not just money. When people are recognized for their work and contributions, they want to put in more effort, which improves morale and engagement in the workplace. Human relations brought back motivation and purpose into management and the workplace, but there's still one question that remained. Who is actually has a voice and power in organizations? That ties us in to my third point. Modern critical theory, which focuses on power and voice paired with encouragement from employee participation. Pressbooks explains Stanley Dietz talks about communication and how it's not neutral. It's a way for organizations to control and have power. Dietz says organizations limit employee voice by shaping the language and choices available. Dietz refers to this as corporate colonization, and it's where management controls the narrative. Dietz believes that communication in the workplace should be like a democracy, and employees should be inclined in the decision making. He believes that they shouldn't just be handed tasks, but actually have influence in the tasks themselves. He thinks that this ties into, again, more engagement, more motivation, because the tasks seem more personal to the employee because it has their influence on them. So, in conclusion, we saw that classical theory focused on control and efficiency. Again, top down, just manager to employee. No outside influence, no outside noise, any of that. Very strict hierarchy. Human relations saw the flaw in that, and they shifted the focus on the people and their true motivations, which is not just pay, but feeling appreciated and recognized in the workforce. And that led into modern critical theory, which focuses on employee voice and influence. These theories continue to create the culture in the workplace, and tying back to what I said about when you remember those jobs when you're just stuck in the motion, now you know that that manager had classical theory. That's what he believed was going to be the best for whatever organization he worked for. Just manager to employee, everyday routine. They believe that's efficient. Or when you have those jobs where you felt part of the team, you felt a connection through the workers, you felt like your work got recognized and you were valued in it. You weren't just another worker. That is human relations or modern critical theory. So that is my speech, everyone. Thank you for listening, and I hope you guys all have a great day.